don't you think our product is great and awesome? Would you want to buy it?
Yeah. It's great and I would buy it.
What is up, lovely researchers? It's Kevin, and honestly, that skit made me cringe to record it. Questions like those are not only the worst things you can ask, but they can lead you down very dark product paths. So don't do it. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 moderating mistakes UX researchers make and how you can avoid them to have an effective user interview. So let's get to it. The first most common mistake, leading questions. From my terribly acted out intro skit, those are some examples of leading questions.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? Didn't mommy and daddy show you enough attention when you were a child?
I always thought that you were a very nice person.
Did you know I was an alcoholic?
What?
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Aren't you?
The leading questions are ones where you prime your user to give you an answer that you want, whether or not you're aware it's a leading question. Because on the face of it, they're questions we might ask every day to our friends. They're innocent enough, right? Wrong! Instead of, do you think our product is good and useful? Ask them, what do you think of our product? Instead of, what are your pain points? Ask them to show me your process. They're open-ended, not leading, and vague enough for a good starting point so you're not taking them down a specific path. Number 2, not making them feel comfortable. So here's a story. I greeted a participant in the lobby of our office and I walked them into our lab, and I could tell this guy was a little nervous. So I asked him how was his day, how's the traffic, how'd you get here, asked him if he wanted water, snacks, anything like that. And I was just speaking in a way that was kind of chill and joking and making self-deprecating jokes because, you know, that works sometimes. When I got into the lab, an observer happened to be watching me work my magic. But he was a little bit confused while I was making all these jokes with the participant. Then he began to realize, I see what Kevin's doing. Because he also noticed the participant was kind of nervous. And after that, the participant opened up. So remember to smile, build rapport. It's free, doesn't take too much time, and it helps loosen them up and makes them feel comfortable. Treat it like a conversation. Don't use words such as, we're doing an investigation, or we're conducting research. Just say, hey, we want to learn from you. We have some products we want to show you. It's not an exam. There's no right or wrong answers. You're the expert here. We want to learn from you to help us make things better for you. Your style may vary, but make sure you do this so that they trust you and not feel intimidated. I've written a script that I can share. If you're interested, comment down below if you want it. Number 3, intimidating them. Speaking of intimidation, here's a story. I was participating in a focus group and the moderator called out a guy for not speaking up enough. And he said,
if you're not going to talk, I'm going to ask you to leave. Don't waste my time.
Everybody in the room was like, ooh, God, this guy's kind of scary. And I'm just thinking, like, you can just, be nice. Encourage them to speak up. Remind them that there are no wrong answers and that we value your feedback. And guess what happened to that poor guy? He ended up staying, but for the rest of the session, I could tell he was just giving very generic positive comments. And that's not really helpful. So don't intimidate your participants. Number 4, answering the questions and explaining too much. So let's pretend for a second. Here's a pop quiz. You are the badass researcher moderating me, the participant. You're showing me some product, and then I asked you, if I press this button, will it bring me to this page? How should you respond? A, tell them they're stupid for not knowing. B, tell them to press the button and try it out. C, tell them what the button will do. Or D, none of the above. That's right. It's D for don't tell them anything. I don't think I have to explain A. B and C are bad because you're not going to get what they expect from pressing that button. Here's what you're going to do instead. Use the Socratic method or boomerang technique. Bounce the question back to them. Like, if I press this button, what will this do? What do you think it'll do? See? Very simple. Now be careful how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Okay? Because what do you think? It's very different from what do you think? Or what do you think, idiot? And last but not least, number 5, performing for your stakeholders. When your boss or your stakeholder is in the room watching, it can get pretty nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie, because you might feel like they're judging your moderating skills. I felt this when I first started off as a UX researcher. My coworkers have felt this when they first started off. Everybody feels this when they first start off. Maybe, unless you're born a badass. If you ever feel this, don't worry. This is more about having confidence in yourself as a researcher. My advice is to remember why you're a UX researcher in the first place. Because you're interested in people. And what's more important than the participant right in front of you? So focus on your participant and observe them, not your stakeholders. Besides, your stakeholders are probably more interested in what the participant has to say than your moderating skills. And if they want to ask questions, they can do it later. So those are the 5 moderating mistakes that UX researchers make and ways that you can avoid them. I have a part 2 coming out, so stay tuned. What other mistakes have you noticed? Comment down below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I make all things UX research related to help you become the most badass UX leader. Mad love. Peace!